Anyway, guys and girls, it's an incredible privilege to be here, and I'm hugely honoured, very humbled to be your candidate for London Mayor. I cannot say how humble I am. Well, just a little bit of background about me, and before I get on to really attacking that person in City Hall. I was born, educated and continue to work in what was once regarded as the proudest and greatest capital city on earth. But I, along with most people, am very angry, beyond belief, as to what this, or Sadiq Khan has done to our capital city. And just ask any cabbie driver and you will get the unadulterated real truth. The decision for me to actually stand for Reform UK was not taken lightly, because I'm not a politician. I really am not. I'm a public affairs campaigner. That's what I do. Even though for 50 years I have always voted Tory, yes, I am old. When elected, I'll be just approaching 70 years of age, so it'll be a bit of fun. But, oh, it's very kind of you, very kind of you. And I did manage to get up the step, but the Biden steps are over there, so... I cannot support the arrogance of the Tories, their dishonesty and litany of broken manifesto promises. As we all know, this government is Tory in name only. And as I said to you before, 50 years I voted Tory, never again. And dare I say it, I'm a proud Thatcherite. I cannot ever bring myself to vote for a party. And after 13 years in power, they have deserted the true Conservative ethos of low taxes, remember them, self-determination, small state and commercial incentivisation. They've all gone under this government. I have some good friends in the Tory backbenchers because I've been running a campaign that has frankly been very successful because of those Tory backbenchers, and they are disillusioned, and I'm trying to convince them to come across to Reform UK. I'm sure other speakers today, there's some incredible speakers you've got today, and I'm in awe to be a warm-up act for a lot of them. They will actually speak more eloquently about the catastrophes that have been inflicted on our once great nation for over a decade, and why Reform is the only party with common sense that will make the difference. Okay. And what's transpiring here in London, frankly, is no different under a clueless Labour regime under Sadiq Khan. This city has become more and more divisive and subject to a political and economic assault that has hit the poor, sole traders and small businesses on a scale that I believe is not only immoral, it's tantamount to being criminal. This idealistic dictator is restricting our freedom and any chance of basic prosperity, all under the guise, yes, you get ready for this, of this economic idealism. He knows what's right for us, doesn't he? He's telling us everything, despite public consultations, which I'm going to come on to in a minute. He ignores those and says whatever he says goes. And I was speaking to one particular Tory backbencher only recently. The London mayoral position is probably the most powerful political position in the UK. Even more powerful than the Prime Minister, because he can get away with anything. He can do what he wants, and how he wants. For those who don't know me, I'll give you a bit of background. I set up Fairfield UK back in 2010, a campaign to fight, initially, the punitive and much-hated fuel duty tax on UK's 37 million drivers. And I'm going to come on to that in a minute about 37 million drivers. They all vote. Every one of those vote. If we get Reform, and I'm telling all the leaders here of Reform, and everyone who's actually standing for Reform, get drivers on your side and you'll get their votes. At the time, I was helping small businesses with their marketing and communication issues. One haulage firm I advised with 50 trucks showed on their profit and loss sheet a little line which said 44% of their costs was diesel. And get ready for this, 70% at the time was tax being paid to the government. This taxation or level of taxation was not only obscene, it was debilitating. So I brought together the Road Haulage Association, the Freight Transport Association, which is now called Logistics UK, and the RAC to create Fair Fuel UK. I managed to secure the first ever government e-petition, getting a debate in the House of Commons on the punitive effect of high fuel taxation to the economy and the world's highest tax drivers. I built up a following of 1.7 million supporters in the early days of social media, and believe you me, it's a hell of a lot of Malbec I drank in over 24 hours, getting those to actually sign up. I also got the backing of 140 MPs from all parties, except that one, I think you know, the honourable lady member for Brighton. I also work very closely with the media, notably The Sun, and a lot of people don't like The Sun too much, especially those from Liverpool. The fact is, they were very instrumental in helping me keep fuel duty down. I'm widely quoted in the printed media and online media, and interviewed even on anti-driver channels like BBC and Sky. The result of this objective campaigning, lobbying and using advocacy communication, and what that means is actually getting supporters to write to their MP. We have now had a freeze in fuel duty for 13 years. It's the longest freeze in any tax in anything in the history of the Treasury. In fact, and not only a freeze, we've actually had a 6p cut, a 1p cut back in March 2011 under that guy called George Osborne, you remember him? And also, only a year ago, Rishi Sunak, when he was the Chancellor, he actually knocked off 5p as well. But we didn't see it at the pumps, did we? I can honestly say, though, I have helped to save every driver, on average, nearly £6,000 in filling up costs. In fact, had this pure tax-grabbing fuel price escalator been in place, now, petrol and diesel will be way in excess of £2.20 per litre. Diesel probably £2.50. You imagine what that would have done. We were in a deep recession. You imagine what they've done to businesses. They've gone out. Everything we do relies on transport. And everything in terms of filling up our tanks actually impacts on inflation. Even The Guardian's political editor, Peter Walker, I suspect through gritted teeth, wrote only last week, and I'm going to quote this, he has a case for being the most successful political lobbyist in the country's history, leading the charge for a decade-plus freeze on fuel duty. I'm so proud of that, Guardian. Bloody hell. But hear this even further. Why has it taken Rishi so long to wake up to the fact drivers vote? Is there a general election next year? Moving the 2030 ban to 2030 is welcome, but oddly, in the small print, and don't be fooled about this, there remains anti-competition legislation in place that makes car manufacturers mandated to sell a minimum amount of EVs, growing each year. That hasn't been mentioned. That's in the small print. So in other words, he's still controlling a marketplace. And this is a Conservative government, a free market economy, and they're controlling what we buy and sell. In addition, together with the Motorcycle Action Group, if there's any members here, and the Alliance of British Drivers, at Fairfield UK, we produced a groundbreaking independent report that showed the 2030 ban on the sale of new diesel and petrol cars will cost 5 times the alleged environmental economic benefits. So take that on board. There's about £80 billion worth of benefits because of the 2030 ban, but it will cost £400 billion to get them. Go figure. Coming back to the little matter of standing for London Mayor, I am the only candidate that has shown through independent economic research that ULEZ is reducing the capital's GDP by £1 billion per year. No one's mentioned that. I got the Centre for Economic and Business Research to do some independent analysis, and I paid for it out of my own pocket. And they have told us unreservedly, ULEZ costs us all. We all know too that Genghis Khan ignores public consultations. In last year's ULEZ ballot, 2 out of 3 Londoners said they did not want the Greater London extension. 2 out of 3, 66%. We know he ordered cameras before the results of the public consultation came out. A consultation where he manipulated responses. 5,000 of my Fairfield UK supporters were even counted as only 1 vote. But thousands of cycling responses were individually counted. How this has been allowed to get by, and I've spoken to Keir Starmer about it, and he said to me, oh, well, he's a very important person in London, despite him lying through his teeth every time he opens his mouth. We know he lies about health fatality data too. Allegedly, he claims ULEZ saves 4,000 lives each year. You've heard that one, haven't you? But we know this statistical construct modelling, you've heard of modelling, remember the days of COVID? Live stays in this situation means just an extra 11 minutes more on this planet. 11 minutes. Yeah, we are saving 4,000 lives. 11 minutes. How do you measure that? We all know that TfL and even Imperial College have told the current mayor that the ULEZ expansion will not make any difference to the air quality we breathe. Any of the air quality. Cahn's deputy, Miss Rodriguez, even tried to change the same conclusion that the Imperial College made by actually fabricating results. This university, Imperial College, also was paid £800,000 by TfL, by Sadiq Khan, to actually produce this report, and it didn't come out the way expected. I could go on and on about the huge dishonesty and appalling financial management in Stella Khan's regime, but it's right I now tell you about some of the many positive changes I will do as your reformed London Mayor. I will remove not only the ULEZ expansion, cash grab, that horrible expansion that we voted against, but I'll remove all ULEZ, all the way through London. It's all going to go. All the ULEZ cameras will go. We may just keep a few to help monitor dangerous road traffic spots. That makes sense. But I remove all LTNs, 20-mile-an-hour limits. But again, the 20-mile-an-hour limits will leave outside primary schools or vulnerable places such as schools. I will restore those roads that have been halved in size back to common sense dimensions to get London's traffic moving again. And plans for the tolling of the Blackwall Tunnel and Silvertown Tunnel will be thrown out immediately too. But I will do is all roads throughout London will be assessed by an independent body as to what the best and most common sense speed limits should be. I was driving down a dual carriageway in North London the other morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I had to do 20 mile an hour, and it was 3 lanes, dual carriageway, no one was about. That's the stupidity of this ridiculous regime here in London. I've also recently brought to the media's attention Reform UK's brilliant Noel Wilcox. Noel, are you here? Stand up, Noel, wherever you are. Noel? Oh, there you are, Noel. Who has this, yeah, please. Who, as a small business boss based in North West London, bravely took on TfL in court and won. He has proved that the existing low-emission zone signs, and by inference the ULEZ signs, are illegal, unlawful and misleading. Khan knows they are illegal, but continues to fleece drivers. There is more to come from this story, as TfL still refused to pay all the fees and costs that the judge ordered to be paid back to Noel. So watch this space. And also, 2 London Underground dust removal workers, their whistleblowers, have come to me, Rob and Mick, and I hope you're listening, Rob and Mick, on live stream, because I love you to bits. They came to me a few months back to show how dangerous the air quality is in London's Underground. For years, they have been forced to work with poor protective clothing, equipment, and have over a long period breathed in dust containing asbestos, and get ready for this, arsenic dust. Also, other carcinogenic particles. Their health worries were dismissed by TfL. This is unforgivable. Even Susan Hall, Sadiq Khan, they just completely ignored it and brushed it under the carpet. What that story tells us, the poor quality of air we all breathe in the tube is irrelevant to Sadiq Khan, as long as he continues to take hard cash from low-income drivers and businesses at the roadsides. In fact, he says, bring in your dirty diesel, as long as you give me £12.50 for the privilege. But I'm not a one-trick pony. It's not just transport I'll be fighting for to be your London Mayor. Crime under Sadiq Khan is rocketing into the stratosphere, notably knife offences and shoplifting. They're running rife. He still claims London is safer under him than it has ever been. Can you believe that? When he's questioned, he says, yes, London is safer under him. But as the Capital Police and Crime Commissioner, he has been an unmitigated failure in lowering crime. His self-delusion is off the scale. We need a zero-tolerance approach to handling crime with ultra-strong targeted approaches to drugs, sexual assaults and the carrying of knives. Prison sentences must reflect the seriousness of the crime. No ifs, no buts, carrying a knife should mean many years behind bars. And no crime should be treated as a low priority. And that really upsets me when you hear pensioners who've been actually robbed or something and they're not visited for weeks, days and ignored, they're just given a crime number. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this. In fact, Richard Tice actually helped me find this information out. At any one time, only 5%, yes, 5% of the available bobbers in London are ever walking the street. 5% of the bobbers. That means 95% are not. I will make every effort with the Met Police Commissioner to triple the number of police on the streets. I believe we can go further. So in other words, I'm going up from 5% to 15% in the first couple of years. It's nothing, is it? And we'll also get them away, the police, out of their desks from chasing down anti-woke tweets or arresting free speech celebs in... They must be very visible, talking directly to the community with, and preventing crime through cooperation with people on the ground, being seen and with better intelligence. Under my tenure, the job will go back to actually catching criminals. I will work with the Met and business to set up a novel police access location point. This is quite unique to reform. We've lost police stations right across the whole country, let alone in London. And what we're talking about is actually having in supermarkets and 24-hour open outlets across Greater London, yes, that's right, 24 hours permanently manned police station positions with high-tech communication kit, easily approachable and accessible for those who feel threatened walking down the streets at 11 o'clock at night. They can jump into a Tesco's or a Morrison's or a McDonald's to find there's a policeman stationed there. And guess what? You know, we can stop, I think the businesses will love this because it will help stop and prevent shoplifting on the ground. And shoplifting is so ignored, and he's gone completely silent, Sadiq Khan, about this whole issue about shoplifting. Have you heard him say anything about it? I haven't. So it'd be in the interest of businesses to actually contribute to the funding of what I call PALS, you know, police access location. Oh, by the way, I will support the police in strengthening stop and search PALS. We know the mayoral election will be fought very much on ULEZ and crime, but I believe the need for massively more affordable housing is almost as important. I do intend to build considerably more truly affordable properties. Under Khan, the promised building targets have been woefully missed, with thousands of planning applications stuck in the quagmire of NIMBY bureaucracy. This is another target he is untruthful about. It's clear, as TfL being one of the largest landowners, why don't we build on some of TfL's land? The mayor owns TfL land. It's cheap. He doesn't have to buy any land. And they could get planning through very easily, so we could get some really cheap, affordable housing for the youngsters in our capital. And that's what I'm working on. Nearly finished, guys. I'm in the process of developing our party's London manifesto and gathering data on these issues so I can hit the ground running. So all of these issues and other costed plans will be announced soon in the lead up to 2024, 238 days from now. I welcome your advice, support, and any suggestions you may have so I can produce a mayoral manifesto that will get the majority of Londoners on side. If they hear these messages, I promise you, whatever politics, whatever label they're under, they will agree. Oh, I better forget. I'm about to leave you and say thank you, but I nearly forgot. How could I forget this? One of the things that's very important for everyone to understand, when elected on day one, not only will I close down the ULEZ cash-grabbing department in TfL, I will refund all fines and fees paid in the ULEZ expansion zone. And guess what, Susan Hall? I challenge you to do the same. The paradox of all this is Mayor Khan says ULEZ has never been a cash grab plan. He boasts that any net revenue raised by ULEZ is guaranteed to be invested in improving the transport network in London. So on that premise, there must be some surplus cash available to refund the drivers. True? I hope you all approve on the direction I'm going in London. I will take London as your mayor. There's a lot more I will be announcing to bring back social and economic sanity to our wonderful capital city. Please watch this space. Thank you so much for lending me your ear, and I warm support. Please have a fabulous conference.